Welcome to the Fitness and Finance Podcast with Jeff Smith from the Retirement Smith and Jennifer Scherer from Fredericksburg Fitness Studio. True wealth isn't just about finances, it's about maintaining a healthy body and a secure financial future. The Fitness and Finance Podcast is here to help you build strength in both areas, tackling financial strategies for retirement while also discussing ways to stay active, healthy, and energized. Now let's get started with Fitness and Finance. Welcome to Fitness and Finance Radio. I am your co-host, Tony Shore. Wow, we've got a great episode, a very special episode. When I was growing up watching TV, like in the 70s, they would have, or the 80s, they would have a very special episode of Different Strokes. You know what I mean? So anyway, I'm excited to be here. Excited to be here with two of my favorite people in the whole world. Thanks for letting me be on the show. I'm here with our hosts, Jeffrey Smith and Jennifer Scherer, the fitness and finance gurus.
Yes.
How you guys doing?
Great.
Oh, man, we're so happy to be here.
Yeah, all in the same room.
All in the same room. Not in that box every week.
We're out of our boxes.
I don't have my headset.
Great.
I can hear.
They let us out.
Yeah, this is wonderful.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, this is awesome. This is great to be here.
Yeah,
well,
so we came to Minnesota yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah, and we landed with the snow coming down.
Awesome.
We're not supposed to talk about
That's
snow.
right.
It's a dirty word.
Just kidding.
Snow is bad.
It was hotter than you could ever imagine.
It was like sweltering.
So we're in Minnesota in a professional studio here in a nice setting for the podcast,
And then they let us in
for the show. This is great.
Yeah.
Very special show. Jeff, how did you swing this?
Well, I owe it all to Zinda. BZ.
Brad Zinda?
Brad.
We have a saying, you've been
pulled it.
zinded.
I know, we
but
did.
in this case, it's a good thing.
Yeah, he hooked it all
He
up.
set this whole thing up
Yeah.
for us.
I mean, he sent a driver to pick us up.
I
It was a whole
know.
thing.
Wow.
We felt very special.
Really?
It was
Yes.
really nice.
Wow.
Yep. And then took us to dinner.
Yeah.
Nice.
We went to a steakhouse and we ordered fish.
Yes.
Right.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
So
For
he
fitness and
works with
finance.
Gradient Financial, which
right.
you work with a lot.
Yeah.
They help your clients manage. They do the manage money and
Yep.
some of the
They
investments
support
and things.
my business in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So they're wonderful. And Brad hooked all this stuff up and all these great folks that you guys can't see. They're right behind the
The
cameras.
crew
right
at Lucon Media.
now. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was fun.
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
we had a blast today. We got to shoot different videos and commercial type things that are funny. We hope they're funny anyway.
Well,
They
they're
might not be.
creative, if nothing
Where
else.
can our listeners and viewers see the things
Yeah.
that you've been filming today?
So YouTube and Facebook.
Okay.
The Facebook, as my mom calls it.
The Facebook.
The Facebook.
The Facebooks.
It
At
always
least she
has to
doesn't
have
pluralize it.
Yeah.
Absolutely, which
Yeah.
is an issue for Ralph, as we
Yeah.
learned
Oh my goodness. He is the
earlier
grammar
shows.
police.
He is
Who's
the-
that?
My dad.
Her dad.
Oh, your dad
Oh, yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Big
makes
time.
everybody.
He can spot a typo from a mile
man.
away.
Oh, yeah.
He's good at it.
So, what did you film today? Like, talk to us. You said like a commercial type, little snippets and clips.
Well, we're focused so much on the next phase of both of our career. We're combining our efforts into fitness and finance, and so part of that was to introduce some of the concepts that we're working on. And Jennifer and I, we have our studio and our in my office located in the same place that we actually live. But in the middle of we have 3 floors, and on the middle floor we're going to be offering retreats, so people can actually come in, stay for a couple of days, and get a reboot in their fitness and their finances. So we're wanting to introduce that a little bit more. We have a book coming out that highlights a lot of the concepts that we work on every single day, and so it's we're very excited to be able to do that, and we wanted to do it in a very professional way. And Lucon was gracious enough to put us through that
Yeah.
process. right?
Yeah. I think there was a part of a commercial where Jeff was talking about how fragile both areas can be, and he mentioned the word physical capacity, and then I started thinking about all the different metrics that we measure to assess someone's risk when they walk in the door of the studio. Well, Jeff does the same thing when someone walks through the door of his financial. And it's really important that we can combine those efforts to give them an overall picture of, the areas that we need to address.
We like to focus, obviously we want to focus on the good stuff, but there's vulnerabilities there.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to firm up. So whenever we take people through our risk tolerance or our steps in our process, we are looking for areas that we need to address, and we don't just hide from them. We don't focus on just the good things that they have going on. We want to focus on the areas that may be an issue down the road. So we both share that passion.
Yeah.
And we're not the type of people that will ignore anything, especially if it's a bad situation. We want it fixed. And Jennifer's really good at addressing those things and the gait analysis. And
Yeah, we both kind of look at it like it's a puzzle, because it really is. Each person is unique, and someone comes in to do their gait analysis might be really strong and not have any imbalances, but then they go through the balance, and it's like, okay, they're a fault risk. So one test might measure great mobility, whereas another test might measure high risk of fall. And so we really don't like to overlook any one of those. And Jeff has a really detailed part of his financial risk assessment, kind of what I went through, where I realized, the areas that I needed to work on the most. And then I put them in priority. I'm like, okay, well, here are the results. If we create a plan, here are the top 3 things that we need to address. There might be 6 or 7 things on the list, but here are the top 3. And then let's put this into action. Let's make this something that's realistic and not overwhelming.
Yeah, and I think we really always want to bring something of value in the podcast. We want to share something that's going to be like a zinger or something that will change your life.
Yeah.
The reality is we all have that in us. The hard part is that we don't know what your situation's like. So
Right.
whoever's watching, this could be different people watching. And so each week we try to bring some value to watching this. But the reality is that we need to know who you are,
Right.
and that kind of helps. I think we had a great show with a special guest, and we identified that she was the same way, and I think if good professionals will be generalists on the air, but very, very specific when it comes to the
Allison, who
Yes.
did the therapy when you had her on the show,
Yeah.
that was fantastic, and that was we got a lot of great feedback from that
Yes.
show.
Yeah.
That was very
One of the best.
helpful. And your questions, it was not just her; it was you,
Yeah.
and the questions you asked as well. But Jennifer, I love the puzzle analogy.
Oh, yeah.
Because the way I see it, the more I learn about what you do and the longer we've been doing the show, you get people coming in and you assess their risk. You're talking about physical risk, especially as they're aging. What's your fall risk? How's your balance? You run tests to determine their risk. But when people come in and with their finances as well, some people, they feel overwhelmed. They're probably watching this podcast because they might feel overwhelmed. And I feel like, I don't know if you've ever put together a puzzle or if any of our listeners or viewers, if you have 1,000-piece puzzle,
Right.
I don't know if you've ever seen 1,000-piece puzzle.
Yeah.
A lot.
They're hard, right? And I think a lot of people are sitting there and their finances and their health and their life in general might be this 1,000-piece puzzle, but they have no idea. They don't have the final picture of what it looks like. And
Right.
if you ask the question, what's the most important piece of a puzzle? Some people say it's the corner piece or
Right.
the last piece. No, it's the box lid. The most important piece of the puzzle is the box lid because you can't put together 1,000-piece puzzle unless you know what the end result is going to look like. I mean, you might be able to do it, but it'd probably take you a year and you'd get very frustrated. If you don't know what the final picture looks like, good luck.
Exactly.
And you guys have the box lid.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's where you come in as professionals to provide that box lid to say, hey, we're going to look at the big picture, and this is where it fits. This is where your health risk meets your financial risk and how it fits together. Am I right on? Wouldn't you say?
100%. And a lot of what I do is compare the results to like the statistical normative data. For someone's blood pressure, obviously, there's a number where we want them to be for that. But there's also numbers where they should be on hip extension, knee extension. There's a number of seconds they should be able to balance. There's a number of sit to stand someone should do over the age of 65. If you don't know what your baseline is, how are you going to improve?
Right. Wait, I have to be able to balance for more than a second on one foot?
I think you could do that, Tony.
Yeah.
As long as it's not in borrowed boots.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Jeff recently told me. Here's the story. Here's what he's talking about, listeners and viewers. Jeff recently made the comment to me, and Jeff knows now how serious I take these things. He said, "Tony, you should have to walk a mile in my shoes someday." And that's why, if you notice, I don't wear boots. I never have worn a pair of boots in my life. If you notice what I'm wearing, I don't know if our listeners or viewers can see this in the shot, but I have boots on today, actual boots. And I wouldn't normally be caught dead wearing
Jeff's
these boots, but they're actually Jeff's. These are actually Jeff's boots.
That's
I
true.
I
True
took you a
story.
little too literal, maybe.
Yes.
I saw these. I knew in the dressing room today.
Yeah.
I'm like, I bet those are Jeff. Hey, they look like they're my size. I might just try those
He's
on
just
for
literally,
the show.
literally wearing my boots.
So
I am
So-
literally wearing your boots. And you know what? I put them on, instantly felt smarter. I'm like, all of a sudden, wait, I know
His
math.
401k,
Well,
his 401k went up.
you're going to have to walk a
immediately.
mile in them now.
I know math. What happened? I dropped out when I hit algebra. Are you kidding me? That's why I need Jeff around.
Oh, that's great.
So, but you were talking about risk and risk
Yeah.
assessment. And I think you're getting into, you talked about balance, which made me think of, and falls. I have two elderly parents.
Right.
And my mother-in-law has been in assisted living, and we're trying to transition her. You guys were talking about assisted living, and where
Yeah.
does that fit into what you do?
Well-
you do health assessment to find out, and that's a growing area,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah, so what we're trying to do is help people avoid having to go to a nursing home, right? That's a
Right.
big deal on a lot of levels, right? So obviously physically, if you can't do 2 out of 6 activities of daily living, you're probably well on your way to needing assistance on some level. Obviously, it's a financial drain, right? It's an emotional issue, right? You have to leave your house. You leave your support system, and not everybody can show up every day. And I just feel like it's just such a lonely, terrible existence, right? So, I mean, I I don't think death is the worst. I think sitting in a nursing home for 10 years would be the worst case scenario
Yes.
on any level. Like that would be the worst for me. So, what we're trying to focus on is keeping people out of that system for so many reasons, right? Not just the obvious financial issues associated with it, but the emotional issues, and I mean the free, being free and independent is what retirement's all about, right? So if you can move and you can afford to go places and do things that you care about, I mean, I think that's an amazing retirement, right?
Yep.
That's what you want. You don't want to have to limp to the end zone, right? So.
Our work is best suited for people who want more than just a workout. If you're someone who wants to understand your body, move better, feel stronger, and make decisions based on data, not guesswork, this is the right place for you. We work with people managing pain, recovering from injuries, navigating hormonal or metabolic changes, or simply just wanting to train smarter as they age. We don't rush the process, and we don't offer one-size-fits-all solutions. If that's what you're looking for, we would love to work with you.
Yeah. And it's a quality of life thing. I mean, once you get transitioned out of your home and your comforts, it can be really challenging to stay joyful.
Yeah.
And that's where you can see cognitive decline.
Right.
And that's hard. I mean, when the family starts coming to visit mom and dad and it's not in the comfort of their own home, that's a hard transition.
Sure.
And we want to prolong that for as long as possible.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
a big mission for us.
Yeah.
We have, Graham
Yeah.
and Oma are still, and my mom, we're, they're getting older.
Older, yeah.
But they're still very much active.
Yeah.
And Oma
And vibrant.
and Graham,
Yeah.
especially. And
Yeah.
but they would never want to leave their house.
No, and they've said that.
Yeah.
And I know they're not. the
Graham's never
only-
going to leave her house.
No, she wants to die at her house.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but keeping her able-bodied is the top priority right now. And she's got a treadmill in her basement. She walks on it regularly. She asks me, should I do incline? Should I wear some, should I hold
does
some
the
wow.
weights?
She's like doing
She's
curls.
like 80.
Impressive.
How old is she? 82?
She's 82.
82.
So she uses her treadmill.
Oh, yeah.
Because mine's what we call mine a clothes rack at our house.
It dries close for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fair. Well, yeah, and Oma is still teaching, right? She's
Yeah.
her wrapping up her
Yeah.
She's 88.
Yep, 88. And I think she just finished
Yeah.
her teaching.
She's
That's
a
impressive.
professor
Yeah,
at George
professor.
Mason.
Wow.
Yep.
My parents are both, as you know, in their 80s, but they both have Parkinson's, and they both
Yes.
are now in long-term care.
Okay,
And
yeah.
so you mentioned the cost. You want to avoid long-term care. Number one, the cost.
Yeah.
I
Right.
mean, even more so the time. No one wants to be
Yes.
there. But my mom needs full care, and it's $11,000 a month.
Oh my goodness.
So I mean, and now the
Wow.
stats are 73% of anyone who reaches the age 65, 73% will end up needing long-term care. So that's almost 2 out of every 3 people.
right.
So and it's not affordable. So we're headed for a real crisis as more. And
I
more
think we
people
are
need
already
it.
there, and I think the problem is not the the reality is I think we did the statistics right. 70% of the things are
Preventable.
preventable.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, obviously, Parkinson's is not something that
Right. I mean,
but-
you have things like cancer and Parkinson's and MS and other things
Right.
where you're going to need the care, but so many people end up in there and they could have.
Yeah, and I think obviously maintenance goes a long ways. Starting in our world, in the finance world, we're screaming at 20-year-olds to put 10% of what they make away. That has been the rule forever, right? Everybody tells you 10%, 10%, 10%, 10%. Just do it, do it, do it, do it.
Into that retirement account.
Right,
You're talking like
yeah.
a 401k.
Right, anything,
Yeah.
right? Just save it. And they don't usually listen until their 30s, probably early 40s.
I didn't. I'm raising my hand. That was me.
That's usually what happens, but we're not really doing the same thing in the fitness realm. I mean, people either have it or they don't. They typically don't work out, or they do. It's not a situation where there's a concerted effort to get people to move more. I think Jennifer does a lot of advocacy for that.
Yeah.
But I think the thing is, right, the sooner you start, the better off you're going to be on both of those things. So it's like, when do you want to change the oil in your car? Do you want it at 5,000 miles or 20? You know what I mean? Some people want to stretch that out for budget issues, but you're playing with fire, right?
Yeah.
You're
Right.
going to do damage,
Right.
that
Yeah.
you have to maintain your vehicle. You have to change the tires. You have to rotate those things. Those are all things that, you have to do.
Yeah.
Well,
And,
it's like self-care. There's a self-care for some just means brushing your hair and brushing your teeth and taking a shower, right?
wow, that's pretty sad.
And for others, it means moving your body, stretching, putting in money away in savings.
Right.
Mental health, maybe
Yeah.
investing into a mental health therapist.
And how many people, don't skip Friday night, happy hour,
Right,
you know?
right.
I mean, that's a hard and fast rule, right?
And
That's
food. I mean, what you eat.
yeah.
It goes so
Oh my
far.
gosh. I love Minnesota. I just want to preface this.
Yeah.
But we were at the hotel yesterday and we're starving. And I pulled up DoorDash and I clicked the healthy button. And
McDonald's came up.
the definition of healthy in
Chipotle probably is as healthy as you got.
it took a lot
He
of
kept
scrolling.
scrolling.
There was a lot of scrolling. There was a lot of pizza. I was
course.
like, oh wow, this pizza must be super healthy.
But we found something. It
We
was
did.
good.
We found an Italian place that was
Yeah. Yeah, it was good.
great. Yep. But anyhow, I don't know why.
Well, preventive maintenance. You talked about vehicles, changing your tires, changing
Yeah.
your oil. Our bodies need preventive maintenance, and it comes in the form of whole foods, regular movement,
right.
and saving.
And I mean, honestly, you have to throw mental health in there too, right? I mean,
Oh,
I think
yeah.
you really need, and it doesn't have to be full-fledged,
Yeah.
therapy sessions every week, but you can write
Yeah.
write stuff out, get it out of your head. The stuff that is, stressful. I mean, everybody deals with these
What do you
types of
mean
things.
write it? Write it.
Journal
out?
it, right?
You're talking about journaling is,
Yeah.
is helpful.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's important.
Well, it's
Mental
an
health
outlet.
is important. In fact, explain that hat, Jeff. Speaking
That's
of
true.
mental health,
Okay, I've been a fan my whole life, and yeah, I've been accused of having some mental health issues because of my affiliation with the Montreal Canadiens. They were good. They used to be really good. And
sure.
they're going to be good.
So moving on.
Yeah.
But no, journaling is important.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think that, often if people can't talk about it, then the next best thing is to write it and get it out. Because stress is a killer. and it makes bad decisions. Stress forces people to make poor decisions with their finances and with their fitness and their health, right?
Well, we talk about the 5 freedoms in the book,
Mm-hmm.
and you had mentioned that this morning during your interview.
Yeah.
Talk more about the 5 freedoms that you learned through the system.
Well, three are the ones that are most important to me. I'll talk
Yeah.
about those.
Yeah.
That's time freedom,
Right.
mental freedom, and financial freedom. Right. Those are the
Oh, wow.
3 big things that revolutionized my life and put me into the position that I'm in with Jennifer. Right. So I was a grinder. I just would grind 60, 70, 80 hours a week, building a business and seemingly going nowhere. I mean, I would get to pretty decent levels and the whole works, but I just was exhausted at the end of the day, had nothing left for my kids. I still felt like I was living paycheck to paycheck, not taking any time for vacation. And I was like, this is madness, right? This is just absolute madness. And I struggled with anxiety. I struggled with panic disorder. And that is not a way to live. It's just, I would have done anything to get out of that. Like anything. I would have spent every dollar I had. Thankfully, I didn't have to do that. But I learned some techniques through meditation to lower my stress. And then I started offloading things that just don't matter. If it didn't matter, why am I wrestling with something, that would take an hour and a half to do for me, but somebody else can do it in 5 minutes? So I learned what those tasks were, and I created time freedom. And once I was able to create time freedom, I was more creative. I was able to see more people and do what I'm good at. And then that created the financial freedom.
Right.
And then that
So the
freed up
wellness
mental.
aspect helped, and
Yeah.
Jennifer and what she does to help people helped you in
Oh my
that
gosh,
situation,
yes.
right?
She unlocked so much for me.
So you mentioned time, money, and mental, right?
Yeah.
So the 2 there's 5 of them that we talk about in the book, and the 2 that I always talk about with my clients are physical freedom and emotional. And those two are very closely linked.
Yeah.
Because a lot of my clients come in the door and they're full of fear, and they're full of just a lack of confidence because they just don't know where to start. And that affects them emotionally. They feel discouraged. They feel like it's too far for them to go. There's just too far from where they are today and where they'd like to be. And I am always in a position where I can sit down with them, and it's a private environment. So there's this level of trust where I can say, it's okay. Like, you're here and that's what matters. And you're admitting that you want help. That's what matters. Like, you're ready to improve, not how far you have to go. We'll take it one step at a time. And I think just having that professional insight is comfort to them because they're offloading it
Right.
onto someone else. And they're saying, okay, I'm going to participate in this journey, but lead me. I
Right.
don't know where to start.
And Jennifer's amazing at this. I'll just say, like, I had sort of this epiphany this morning, about, when you're in a, I'm not trying to bring back stuff, but when you're in a toxic relationship, I was in a toxic relationship for 20 years. Everything's an emergency and there's no tomorrow, right? Everything has to be done that minute, that time. So it creates this space, especially if there's fear, especially around fitness or finance, that there's no tomorrow. You either do it now, all that pressure is at the top, and if you fail, you're a failure. You're done. That's it. But Jennifer is able to say there's a tomorrow. Like, let's build momentum slowly, one step at a time. Let's dispel the fact that this has to be done right now. And there's a next day. And then you just start building momentum. And that's the way it works for fitness and finances. You make good decisions day after day after day, but you're not tied to this whole mentality that it's an emergency all the time.
Well, and there's this level of judgment when you walk into a fitness studio where you feel like, uh-oh, I'm walking into this unsafe area where I don't want to know the numbers. I don't want to fail the fall risk assessment. I don't want to see my data compared to the normative data. It's a big fear for them to just have to look at that objectively. And I try to not focus so much on the numbers, but more on what is the biggest area that we need to address and how are we going to do that? It starts with actions, right? So I'm going to give them a corrective exercise list, and it's going to consist of 5 movements. and it's going to take 5 minutes a day. Can you do that? And they say, hopefully, yes. And, you know, that is a start, right? Because that's what's going to, over time, build up to long-term habits. And Jeff, you do the same thing with finances.
Yep.
It's, you know, they might see this goal way out, but you break it down for them and you're like, okay, this action is what you're going to do.
Exactly.
And then it becomes a little bit, you know, more tolerable for them.
Yeah. I think the thing with my folks are they've been working all their adult life and they don't know where that paycheck is going to come, you know, day one. And so helping them understand that through our, you know, active fact finding, like the viewpoint and all that stuff, we're able to identify those types of things before it becomes an issue. And that's really the big deal, right? I mean, you know, preventative is such a valuable thing, right? Giving peace to people before it comes to the time where they're really going to need that independence or that mobility or that income.
Yeah.
I think that's fantastic. And so one way people can really figure this out and help they can give is the retreat that you're now going to start doing. And so it's like, what is it, like a 2 or 3 day retreat?
Yeah. Yep. So we have all kinds of business plans and ideas and exactly how everything's going to be structured, you know, specifically. But we do know one thing for certain, and it's going to be a thorough viewpoint of both the financial side of things as well as the health and wellness side of things. And once we get that information, that's going to help guide the actual retreat. Because on the viewpoint, someone might come in and say, my diet is wonderful, you know, my blood work is managed with supplements and, you know, whole foods. But, you know, my movement, you know, I'm really tight and I have this injury. And so I'm going to make sure that their retreat is going to be focused more on the movement analysis piece. And then Jeff, I think he's got a pretty standardized process that he'll take his, but I think it's going to be broken up into like a 2 or 3 day. And that way, as a dietitian, if they do need the nutrition piece of things, I can take them to the grocery store.
Yeah, and we can cook with them.
And then
so
cook
that's
with
the thing.
them
The whole concept, right, is that it's full immersion in what we do.
Yep.
So it's going to be packages. Yes, 2 to 3 day would probably be the norm, but we will eventually offer a week long for people. You know, we sort of piggybacked it off of a model where there were people who were overweight that would go away for like 2 or 3 weeks to get full immersion into healthy habits and that kind of stuff. I think that's a little different than what we're trying to accomplish. We want people to be on their own doing this, you know, and not having to have us there guiding them all the time. But when they get to a point where they need to have a reboot or, you know, total do-over or makeover, we want to be there to support that and then give them outlines and guide rails, you know, through the rest of their life. You know, so that's the idea. If we could sit down with our 60-year-old selves, here's what we'd say. Don't wait for pain to fix your body. Don't wait for volatility to fix your plan. Strength compounds just like money, and neglect costs more than effort ever will. The best retirements aren't accidental, they're designed. That's why we built Fitness and Finance and wrote The Bridge Between Fitness and Finance, the 541 method. Because your future deserves intention.
Yeah, I mean, having that financial plan in place. You know, knowing where your retirement income is going to come from, knowing where you're at as far as your health and your diet, and even hands-on food meal prep, healthy meal prep, you know, and how to shop healthy.
So
that's huge.
The first day, we cook all the food for them. The second day, we cook with them. The third day, they cook for themselves.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So the whole idea is that we you know, we train them to do the things that we...
So when I come and do this, the third day we'll have pizza. Is that what you're saying? Because I make a mean homemade pizza. Oh, did that kind of derail the whole purpose? All right. Well, hey, we should wrap this up. But before we do, I know that you currently offer on the physical and well-being and health side. Jennifer, you offer that. Jeff, you offer the financial advice to help people obtain financial freedom, physical freedom, and hopefully prevent long-term care.
Yes.
This is great.
Yeah.
And retirement expenses, it ties together. Your health and retirement
Yes.
planning
Big time.
are intertwined, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They really are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and relieve stress too. And I know that, Jeff, you said you went through a time where
Yep.
you had a lot of stress, and then if you have to sit across doing a podcast from someone wearing your boots, that's gotta. I know that's
That adds
gotta
to it.
bother you.
Yeah,
It adds.
I'm gonna journal about it, Tony.
All right. Well, hey, a great show today. Before we go, make sure you guys let our listeners know how they can get a hold of you and set up. I know you offer no charge, no obligation consultations. They can call with questions.
So you'll check out fitnessfinancepro.com. And then from there, you can book your discovery call with me or with Jeff or with both of us.
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, great show. Talk about a great setting here.
know.
Yeah, this is
This
great.
is awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Our
Thank you so
our
much
new
for having
office.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thanks, and thanks for having me on the show. Thanks to our listeners and our viewers out there. We really appreciate it. And make sure you get a hold of these two and let them know what questions you have. You guys love hearing from our listeners and
Yes.
viewers. Make sure you contact them through the website, fitnessfinancepro.com. And that does it for today's episode of Fitness and Finance Radio with our hosts, Jeff Smith and Jennifer Scherer.